Welcome to Mango Beauty. My name is Stephen Mango and I'm a hairdresser based in Los Angeles, and this is my model, my husband Jeff, and today we're going to give Jeff a makeover. I'm going to be doing a hair cutting tutorial on Jeff, a simple barbering tutorial that you guys at home could follow along in case you have a boyfriend or a friend or someone's hair that you want to learn how to cut. I'm going to be showing you some different tips and tricks that I do on Jeff's hair today to make it easy for you guys to be able to follow along. We're going to be coloring Jeff's hair, going to be covering up and doing a gray cover up today. Stay tuned and we're about to get started. Mango Beauty. Here is a 360 view of Jeff's hair so you get an idea of his length, the color, the cowlicks that he has, and so you get an overall picture of his hair before we begin cutting, coloring, and styling it. The way that I like to get started with Jeff's hair is subdividing it from the top into the bottom section. So I like to take it from the parietal down, and that's going to be the section that I'm going to be using clippers on. And then we're going to be using scissors and a texturizing shear on top to take off some of the length. Now normally if you have a gentleman sitting in your chair, you want to make sure that you hold a consultation with him. Again, I've been cutting Jeff's hair for a very long time, so I know what he would like, but you really want to keep into account the client's lifestyle. Are they going to an office every day? Do they want something a little bit more trendy, or are they a more artistic type of person? So you really want to take into consideration who your client is sitting in your chair, so you can really make sure that you give a really accurate haircut that would fit and suit your client. So for Jeff, what I'm going to be doing today is I'm probably going to be doing about a 1 on the sides with clippers and probably taper it a little bit up in the back. And then on top, I'm going to show you how I actually go about cutting it with scissors. So this is the technique that I like to use with clippers. I'm going to just completely ride it straight all the way up and down. I'm not going to go and scoop in or anything like that up on the top. You can scoop in the bottom because think about it. You're going to take off more hair in the bottom, and as you round it up, it's going to be longer up on this top section. Then you can go in with scissors, or it just depends on the hairstyle you're doing. But with Jeff, and what I would recommend doing when you're first getting started, is just riding the clippers completely straight up. You also want to start by combing the hair all the way down, making sure it's all going the same direction, and then we're just going to go in and then just ride it right up. So if Jeff's parietal ridge is right here, we're just taking it completely straight up, and we're just kind of disappearing the clipper from the head right from the point where the sides meet the top. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a close-up view of Jeff's head and of the sides we're working on. So I'm stopping pretty much right around here, and all of this is all going to be with scissors. I'm going to be holding my comb in my left hand, and then I'm going to be just working the clippers just straight on up right over here. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a side view of how I do that. Normally I'd be holding my comb in my left hand, like I said, brushing the hair down as I'm riding the clippers up. So that's the technique that I'm going to be using all around his head today. I also like to sometimes use my thumb just to make the skin more taut, so you just really make sure that you're covering all of this surface area here. It just helps me just make sure I get a really nice clean haircut all around the sides. I also, as you guys can see here, I like to use the finer teeth of the comb when I'm doing a men's haircut versus using the wider teeth, because I feel like with the finer teeth I'm going to get more control of the hair. I'm actually going to be able to do a much more precise haircut versus the wider teeth, because you're not going to be able to get the same sort of precision as you do with the finer teeth. Already, there is a pretty distinct weight line between the sides and the top. But I'm going to be using scissor over comb today, and we're going to be going vertically all around his head to really blend in this side from the top. Because Jeff also has some cowlicks and stuff in his hair. This hair is going in this direction, this part is going more to the side. He has pieces that are sticking completely straight up. So you just have to really take in consideration the cowlicks and the different things that are going on around your guest's hair. As you can see here when we're looking at the back of Jeff's hair, these pieces right over here, which are kind of part of the sides and part of the top, his hair is growing to the left. So you guys have to just really notice that when you're cutting a guy's hair, because if I just go straight up like this, these hairs are going to be sticking up, but as they grow in, they're going to be growing in, going into this left direction. So you just want to make sure, like I said, that you're combing the hair in that direction. This hair right over here, I can pretty much get away with cutting as part of the sides, but as you can see, these hairs are just naturally going in this direction. So you just don't want to cut against or make some other like weird pattern in the hair. So see, this is kind of like part of my side, so I don't want to go too high or too low. I kind of like just to kind of draw like an imaginary line in my head all the way around the sides, and that's going to be that first section that I'm using with the clippers. Work my way around the rest of the sides, and then we're going to come back to show you how to do the sideburns as well as how to get started cutting on the top. Finished cutting the sides of Jeff's hair, and as you can see, it does look kind of crazy right now because we do have a very distinct weight line right over here, but the sides are complete. So when you're cutting your guest sideburns, of course you want to know how long that they'd like them. Jeff likes to keep his pretty long, but for me and for you guys at home, an easy way to make sure that your sideburns are even are line it up to a point on the ear. So for me, I like to go off of a very distinct point on the ear, so I know that when I'm on the other side, I'm not just guessing like, okay, I took a little bit here, so then you're going and then it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So when you're doing someone like Jeff, for example, I will match it to like say this point of his ear. So like right here, I don't know what this is called right here, but I would just make a very nice clean line right here so I know when I'm on the other side that it's going to match up evenly. So that's what I'm going to do today. Use my trimmers, and I'm just going to go very neatly right around his hairline and just clean up all the hairs. But what you want to really make sure that you don't do is draw a line outlining the ear and whitewashing it, because a lot of people in the beginning, they will go like this and they will draw a line around the ear, so you're going to see skin around the ear. You want to just make sure that you're just kind of trimming up. Yes, you're creating that shape in a circle almost, but you don't want to draw it above the ear. You just kind of want to go naturally around the ear. As you can see, I'm just cleaning up and drawing a straight line down over here. As for the back hairline with Jeff, he does have like this little section of hair right over here. It kind of goes down into this V pattern. I don't completely remove this hair. I've tried that once before and it just looks very strange because on a guy you want to make sure it's either rounded, square, or completely tapered. So with Jeff I might go in a little bit more here with the clippers to try to blur this out a little bit more, but I just kind of draw like a straight square line and just remove any hair down from that point. And as you can see over here, the hair isn't removed above the ear, it's just like nicely going in that round shape. So for Jeff's eyebrows today, I'm using these small pair of eyebrow scissors. What I'm going to do is just comb his eyebrow hairs up, and then I'm just going to be just taking away any of like the excess straggly hairs on the top of his eyebrows. As you guys can see, it's just a lot more cleaner when you're just removing the excess bulk hair for your male clients. So I would recommend offering that as an option. If you have a male who has excess eyebrow hairs, you can say, hey, I can just clean them up for you a little bit and just remove the bulk from their eyebrows. Jeff's hair today, I'm going to be using a small pair of hairdressing shears just because I feel like it's more accurate cutting with a smaller pair of shears. When you're using hairdressing shears, you really want to make sure that you're just moving your thumb, as you can see here. You don't want to be using your ring finger. That's just to be resting, as your thumb is going to be doing all of the work. Also going to be using a pair of these texturizing thinning shears. You can find these at like a Sally Beauty Supply store, for example, or any other local one that you have. So I use 2 pairs of scissors when I'm cutting Jeff's hair. So basically, again, like I said, you want to take into account the direction that the hair is going in. Jeff's hair right over here is going straight and forward. This hair normally just naturally sticks up. He has like this weight line right over here that's very distinct. So we go in vertically and we use scissor over comb, and we're just going right around, just blending it right into the sides. Over here it sticks out to the right, and it's sticking out in this horizontal pattern over here. It's going straight. So again, you just really want to make sure when you have a male client that you're just analyzing the patterns and the texture and the quality of the hair. Jeff's hair is very fine, it's thinner, and then later on when we color his hair, the porosity and other things are going to take into account. So when you're looking at the top, you may wonder, well, how do I make sure it's all even and it's one length, for example? So for me, what I will do is I will get my comb, I will comb straight up. For example, if we're starting here on the top, and you can see right over here, there's all the hair that's sticking above my fingers. Now for Jeff, we like to cut it a little bit on the shorter side because he doesn't like to get his hair cut so frequently, once every 4 to 6 weeks. So I like to cut a little bit shorter and let it grow into the shape that he normally likes. So when we actually do make our first cut, anything above my fingers I'm cutting. So as I'm going here and I'm going through the back, you're going to see any hair above the fingers you're going to cut. That's just like a very simple guide that I like to do when I'm cutting his hair, for example. And then on the sides, like I said, I'm going to show you how to do the scissor over comb on the sides. So say, for example, you don't want to take that much off of the top. You don't want to cut all the hair above your fingers, for example, right? So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to start with a small subsection of the hair. You're going to make your cut. Then you're going to brush that, say, to the front so you don't lose that piece. You're going to come over here and you're just going to marry a small part of the previous section that you cut, and then you're going to be able to see your guide, it's called a guide, from the very first piece you cut, and then you're just going to follow that all the way back. So that's just another way that you can do it. What's also really important to keep in mind is your finger angle. So on the side you want to keep it more vertically, on the top you're going to keep it more horizontal, and that's going to create more of a square shape, which is the most flattering on guide. So just so you guys can get a closer look of what I was just describing, if you get a piece of hair, for example, right here up on the top, you just brush it straight on up. Any hair that's above my fingers, as I'm resting my fingers right here on his scalp, that's going to be all the hair that's taken away. So as I'm going down through the back of his hair, I am just following that same exact idea of just cutting what's on top. On the sides, I'm taking it like this, and I'm going more vertical around the sides of his hair. But on the top, my fingers are horizontal, like this, and that's how I'm following the shape all the way back. Now, for example, if I'm combing it up and he says just a little tiny bit off the top, and I cut this much, well, how do I make sure that around the rest of his hair that I have an accurate haircut? I'm just going to take that same piece and bring it back to the section behind, and then I'm always just going to scoop a little bit from the prior section, and you're going to see a guide. You're going to see that it's cut, say here, the longer piece is here, so you want to just make sure it just matches right here where my comb is, as the example. As you can see here, I'm just cutting all the hair above my fingers. That's just like my general guide point that I like to do. Now, what is the craziest thing that you've ever done with your hair, Jeff? Is there anything crazy before he met me? Because Jeff is only been getting his hair cut by me for the last couple years, so when you were doing your hair back in the day...
We're talking a long time ago though, right?
Well, at any point in time, what were some of the crazy things you used to do with your hair before you knew me?
Well, when I was in college, I got a perm, and then during the summer, I put Super Sun in my hair, which turned it orange, and in combination with the perm, then became sort of a mushy, wet, damaged, orange, Bozo the Clown sort of look.
So then what did you do to fix it?
And, well, my grandmother was a hairdresser, and so she cut it very close and back to kind of get rid of as much of the damaged hair as possible, and dyed it black, which kind of wound up being an ashy gray because of the damage in the orange, but gradually over time it recovered. But I wonder if that changed my hair permanently, because I always used to have very thick Bieber-like hair. And after that...
After the Sun disaster?
Yeah,
It was never the same again.
It still was good, but then I want to say around 22 is when I started losing my hair, and
22?
Yeah.
You were that young when you started losing hair?
Yep. But between what was then an experimental drug, they were doing clinical trials of minoxidil, and I was in the clinical trial and it worked on me. And so that kind of slowed the rate of loss for many years. And then they got Propecia, and I started taking that for a while, and then I just said the hell with it. Now my hair is very baby fine and porous, and basically I'm as bald as an egg.
Well, you're not bald, because clearly I have a lot to cut off today. I'm still able to cut it.
Yes.
Well, what other colors have you done, though, besides your Sun and Disaster? Have you ever been, like, red or...
The Sun and Disaster, I was 19, so... no, I've just done, you know, I've done the blonde thing, and whatever colors you've done, but nothing radical. And of course the orange was unintentional. It was supposed to be blonde, but the chemicals of the Sun-In mixed with the perm is what resulted in the hair disaster.
Okay, so it's now time to blend this line that's right in here. So what I'm going to be doing is just holding my comb right here, getting the hair from the side and writing up. And whatever falls into the comb right over here, I'm just trim as I'm working the comb up. I'm just continuously just cutting whatever falls into the comb, because that's going to then make these hairs that are, say, 3/4 of an inch into 1/4 of an inch, and it's going to start to blend the sides. Some people do prefer to use the wider tooth of the comb for this. For me, since I like doing much more of a detailed close cut, I like using the fine hair, because look at how much hair I'm actually getting into the brush. Then I'm going to go vertically, and I'm going to do the same exact technique going around his head as well, just to make sure that it's all blended up and down and right and left. Also go in with the texturizing shears. That's also a very good way as well, just to really start to blend out this line. Go in with Jeff's hair too, because he has more weight right into here. This is where Jeff carries more weight in his hair, especially like right over here. You can see like there's like a line like right over here. So you really just want to make sure that you're going over where there's heavier weight line, and you can actually remove a lot of the bulk with the thinning shears. Again, when you're doing scissor over comb and you're going up, you just want it to be in a very fluid, continuous motion. Comb and my scissors are just following each other all the way up. I'm not curving in like this. I'm riding it straight up, and I'm losing the scalp. You see that? It just goes straight up. So when I'm going straight up, none of this hair over here is getting touched, because I'm only just trying to blend a line. So imagine the line's right here. I'm just blending that line over, and you're just taking a little bit off at a time. You just keep going, all the way around the head. See, especially if you follow the shear with the comb very closely, you'll see if there's any hairs that are sticking up or too long, and those are the ones that you want to cut. What I learned when I was at school with Paul Mitchell is just keep going over and just really making sure you have like a really good, technically perfect haircut. Then you want to also utilize your mirror, so when you have your guest look straight ahead, you want to even get your comb. You just want to look along the sides of the hair just to make sure it's all even and you don't have that little roundness, which, for example, with this side it is cut down more, but you can see again that more distinct line here, which some guys actually like having it, like say, tapered up to here, and then it's just like longer all through like this top third section of the sides. But for me, I like a very nice clean, using the mirror, just checking and making sure that it all looks like it's one length along the side. And this side actually looks really good. So I'm just going to repeat that on this side of his head, and I'll be right back. Here is the finished haircut that we did on Jeff. As you can see, the sides are very neat, very clean. We took some length off of the top, and now we are going to begin the hair coloring process on him. For Jeff's hair color today, we're going to be using Paul Mitchell the color in the shade 6N+. Now the N+ series is great for covering grays or white, or if you have very resistant hair, I would recommend using the N+ series. You could even mix in, say, like 1/4 of an ounce of a N+ with the regular color that you're using. But the thing about the 6N series is that it runs a shade darker. So a 6 is really like a 5, for example. A 7 is really going to be like a 6. So you always want to go one level up from what you're going to be using. Yeah, I would normally use Wella on Jeff, but we ran out, and I went to a Paul Mitchell school, so I have a lot of Paul Mitchell color on me. We're going to be using the 6N+ in the Paul Mitchell color, and I'm going to be mixing a bit of the Wella 6% 20 volume developer in equal ratio. So if you put an ounce of the color in, you want to put an ounce of the developer, and then I'm going to show you how I apply that today. I just finished applying the hair color of Jeff's hair. We're going to let it process for about 30 to 35 minutes. He's going to wash his hair, and then we're going to come back and show you the final results. Before we show you the finished results, I wanted to remind you of what Jeff's hair looked like before. Now, here is the after. If you guys like this video and you want to see more hairdressing tutorials and other hair, makeup, and beauty related videos, please make sure to go down below and click the red subscribe button as well as the little bell icon. That's going to notify you when I make a new video. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think of this video, and I will see you on my next video.